Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll for Wednesday, March 29, 2023. 3 days left in March. April is here. MLB opening day, first pitch tomorrow. March Madness, the Final Four on Saturday. And what better way to start Wednesday here with good friend and colleague, Mr. B2B, sitting here with his U gear on, going to face my Huskies of UConn right now, 5.5-point favorites, and a total of around 149 and a hook. 149 depends where you shop on the Vegas Strip, but privileged and honored as always to have him in our weekly spot. So let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. BTB.
What's going on, Jeff? Good morning. Happy, I think it's Wednesday morning. So, yeah, looking forward to the weekend. You know, the Final Four is here, and looking forward to Major League Baseball opening day tomorrow. Should be a nice week as we ease into hopefully a relaxing summer.
It just no better time of the year, as I like to say. Opening day tomorrow, Final Four Saturday, championship game Monday, and then the Masters. I mean, can you get any better than that?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to beat, but you know, the opening rounds of the tournament are probably my favorite time of the year. But yeah, we've got, you know, everything going right now. NHL, I can't lose an NHL right now. I've just been on a heater since January 30th, so it's been a nice run. But yeah, looking forward to, you know, Saturday night, seeing if the Canes can you know, pull one out against UConn. So I think, you know, they've got a great shot, you know, because they've got 4 pro guards on their team, you know, that start. So, and they can all shoot threes. I'm still shocked we beat Texas and we only took 8 3-pointers, only made 2. You know, we didn't really utilize the long range game there. So I'm pretty, you know, surprised we beat Texas, but, you know, coaching experience goes a long way in the tournament. So yeah, just looking forward to getting going. I mean, this side of the bracket is, I mean, by far the two most talented teams left are on this side of the bracket. So it'll be hopefully it's a fun game, and we'll see who shows up. You never know what the tournament. You know, who's going to win, right? There's always some surprises. So we'll see what happens, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, go from back to the tournament. You know, you were the best team in the ACC all year. The problem with social media and the media isn't a name called Duke or North Carolina. Therefore, the ACC, quote unquote, was down all year. And you guys were just flying right under the radar. If you watched the U play, you would see they were the most talented team in the conference this year. So the tournament starts. You guys were improperly seeded, let's be honest there. And you know, just flow right through the radar. Great first weekend. It was, you know, on Sunday, to be honest with you, you know, with 10 minutes to go, you're down 13. It looked bleak. And then you played some amazing defense. You got hot offensively. You had the huge edge coaching, and I'll give you the edge on Saturday of coaching. I'll take the Miami coach over Hurley 7 days a week, twice on Sundays. And so coaching is a big factor here, the closer you get to cutting the nets down as well.
Yeah, the ACC. I don't buy into the ACC was down. Just because teams beat up on each other in conference, during the year doesn't mean it's down, right? Like the national narrative was, oh, the ACC is down this year, and the Big Ten's great, right? And the Big Ten had 8 teams in, and yet again, not one team makes the Elite Eight, right? So it's just like, it's kind of like favoritism, right? Like Joe Lunardi his favorite teams are in the Big Ten, right? Joe Lunardi wanted to try as hard as he could to get 10 teams in the tournament from the Big Ten, right? So they have these favorite conferences. And, that's just how it'll always be, right? Like a lot of Big Ten teams are overseeded. Nobody talks about that. Now they're talking about how, we need to make the regular season count more. Maybe I saw one writer saying that maybe the higher seeds should start with a lead, kind of like the PGA, the Tour Championship, right? Like start with a lead. It's just pathetic, right? Their favorite teams lose, and they come up with every excuse in the book. So I think this is like the NIL is giving more parity to college basketball. And as long as the Hurricanes have a billionaire donor in like John Ruiz, they're always going to be right there from now on, because the guy's spending money, right? I think Nigel Pock from Kansas State got 2 years, $800,000. So as long as he's giving out contracts like that for NIL to players, the Canes are going to get a lot of talent, right? And I'm not really surprised that they went this far. I mean, they went to the Elite Eight last year, and people forget they were beating Kansas at halftime by 7 points, right? So they're beating Kansas, the national champions, at half last year in the Elite Eight, and they fell apart the second half because they didn't really have the experience then. But now we're seeing the experience kick in, or they're coming back. So I'm just looking forward to it. And regardless if they win or lose, I mean, to make your first Final Four, it's a huge success.
1,000%. We talked backstage, and people are running to the window, minus 125 for UConn to win it all. Everyone, as you said, on the right side of the bracket, a winner game is automatically going to cut the nets down. And FAU's had an absolute amazing run this year. And San Diego State, last weekend knocks off Alabama, the true number one, who can score 90 in a blink. And then they come back with Creighton 2 days later, and it was basically first one to 60, playing your style, meaning their style. So if San Diego State makes it out of that side, if it's the U or if it's UConn, they're going to have their hands filled, because if San Diego State eventually gets their pace, you're in for a rock fight of all rock fights.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff that, there's some teams are so good offensively that they're not going to let, like some teams run, right? Like I think the Hurricanes have the most fast break points in the tournament, second most behind Gonzaga, right? Like they beat Texas by running, off turnovers, off rebounds and stuff. So, I mean, in these games, it's basically whoever gets out to the lead dictates how the game goes, right? Like San Diego State can score 80, or they could score 50, right? They're kind of like a UConn, right? Like UConn could easily, if UConn scored 55 against the Hurricanes, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they scored 85, right? That's how they played the entire season. So when these games just come down to who can stay out of foul trouble, do you have enough depth where you can fight off foul trouble, right? Like we saw with Gonzaga, Drew Timme picked up his fourth foul with like 17 minutes left or something. I mean, if that happens to then that's basically their only player, right? Their superstar. If that happens to your superstar, you're pretty much done for. But I mean, if you have four guys who are all equal and you get into foul trouble, I mean, you can hack it a little more. Against Texas, Omer, our center, the Hurricane center, he had one foul before halftime with like 5 minutes left, and Jim Larinaga took him out for the first half because he didn't want him to pick up his second foul, then have to watch out the entire second half. So, this is where a lot of coaches, they play the game right and stuff. So it's a lot of coaching and stuff. But I mean, UConn has some really good players. Obviously. I'm not sure that their depth is as good as the Hurricanes, but they have like Sanogo. Superstar. But Omer is Omer is going to be no cakewalk for him. So, like I said, it just comes down to how are the refs going to call the game, who stays out of foul trouble, right? Because it's very easy for the refs to dictate these games, right? Like we saw in the Creighton game, San Diego State, first half, they had like one foul the entire half. It was getting pathetic. Like Creighton plays defense, right? They're playing physical. There's no way they only fouled once, right? So some of these games, how the referees call it, sometimes they call everything, sometimes they don't. So it really comes down to how the refs are calling the game and who can stay out of foul trouble and make shots. The thing I will say about UConn is UConn's been shooting since the second half of the Iona game. UConn can't miss, right? And how long can that last for, right? Like, unless they kind of do what the San Antonio Spurs did to the Miami Heat in the finals in 2014, it's tough to maintain that hot shooting. So we'll see what happens. And like I said, if your team makes the Final Four, I'm happy either way, right? Like, I didn't expect them to beat Texas, so anything from here on out is icing on the cake, just like FAU. FAU has looked so good. I could see FAU having no problem with San Diego State, right? Because FAU has so much depth, and they like to run. I think they do what San Diego State does a little better than San Diego State. So it's just going to be interesting. I think we got a couple of good matchups, and just looking forward to it, and looking forward to the championship game Monday night.
Yeah, it's been a great run for all four teams. I can't wait myself. Going to be a fun Saturday for sure, and obviously, Monday, either UConn or Miami will be in the championship game. So if we come back with our weekly, usually on Monday, one of us will be sitting there. We'll see how the schedules break there. You talked about MLB first pitch opening day tomorrow. Thoughts on opening day? Tell all the watchers, the listeners, your process when it comes to these baseball games. You got such a great following. People that have been with you for season after season already know, but maybe for the newbies, a lot of sides, a lot of first fives, team totals, maybe any futures you've been looking at or you already have in pocket, or it's just a day-to-day grind.
Yeah, I start off the season, I'll probably take it, kind of easy to start the season off. Unfortunately, I have to go to the Marlins game tomorrow because my friends got really good tickets and I thought it would be fun to go down. And I'm not a big Marlins. The stadium is nice. The team sucks, right? The general manager is the worst in the league. And Kim Ng, she's the worst in the league. If she was male, she would be fired, right? Like 2 years ago. But she keeps her job because firing a female general manager would be, sexist. So somehow she keeps her job and she's managed to build a team that's abysmal. They might be a little better this year, but she says they're rebuilding. I don't know what they're rebuilding from because they've been rebuilding the last 5 years that she's been there. So, the baseball season, I like to start out kind of slow, play some team totals, stuff like that. Some first five totals. You might get some lower first five totals the first few games. The first week of the season this year might be the time to take overs, right? Because they ban the shift. The bases are larger, which should lead to more stolen bases and stuff. So I really tried hard to find a prop on like the major league leader over a certain number of steals. But I couldn't find that. I could only find like who's going to lead the league in steals and stuff like that. I think we're going to see more stolen bases this year than the last decade, right? Since the bases are bigger and stuff like that. I played a bunch of props. I played 2 units on the most regular season wins by any team over 105.5 at plus 100. I took Garrett Cole to be the strikeout leader at plus 550. Because Garrett, as long as he stays healthy, he's going to get plenty of chances. He led the league in strikeouts last year. So I like Garrett Cole right there. And speaking about stolen base, I took Cedric Mullins on the Orioles plus 1,200 to be the leader in stolen bases because he's probably the quickest guy up there. I think he was 3rd last year in stolen bases in the league. And, I just think, the Orioles, they'll play more of that small ball this year and I think they'll have plenty of chances for stolen bases. So, yeah, those are just a couple of the bets I took. And I also took my favorite bet annually, the Mets to not make the playoffs at plus 310. So a lot of injuries.
Mm-hmm.
When you start off the year with a lot of injuries, the team's morale can go south, right? And sometimes if you start out the year in a rut, it's tough to get back, into the flow of things. Plus, I think the National League, the NL East, you got the Phillies, you got the Braves, and the Braves will obviously be good. They're a shoo-in for 90 wins plus, right? So if the Phillies can stay healthy, I think the Mets can be in trouble. So I just took a flyer on the Mets plus 310 to not make the playoffs. And one of the World Series futures I took a few weeks ago was the Mariners, like plus 2,500. I think it's down to like 1,900 now. So I probably wouldn't bet it now, but we're in for a long season. That's for sure. Baseball, the season is long, and I'm looking forward to seeing fans whose teams start 7-1, 6-1 tweet about how they're going to the World Series, and then follow that by a 10-game losing streak. So my favorite thing about baseball season is watching everyone jump to conclusions in the first week of the year, right? I remember a couple years ago, actually, one of my free plays was, I forget what the free play was, but I gave out somebody over a certain number of wins, and they started out the year like 2-4, and somebody was like, "This bet's a loser." Like, and there's 56 games to go, right? So I love the early season conclusion jumping by people, but yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing how the no shift affects baseball. We're gonna see it. We're gonna see a lot of more hits, a lot more runs. So yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I think scoring will be way up, and I think it'll take the books probably a week to adjust. Right, kind of like the NIT a few years ago when they got rid of the NIT. I think they did like a 24-second shot clock a few years ago, and it took the books like a week to adjust. I think we'll see something similar this year, the first week of the season before the books adjust the totals to what they should be.
Next Thursday, the Masters begins. I know we have, I think it's the Valeros tomorrow. The warm-up till the Masters. You'll see a few of the big names, try to get in 2 rounds and head down to Augusta. A couple guys scrambling, trying to play well to make sure they get to go down to Augusta. Thoughts on this week a little, or if none, fine. Thoughts a week in advance as we get closer to Augusta and the Masters.
Yeah, I played, I gave out a few plays yesterday on the Stripe Show podcast. I took like Corey Connors, top 20, top 10, Siwoo Kim, top 20, top 10. Chris Kirk, top 10. Chris Kirk to win plus 3,100. Round one leaders, Chris Kirk 48 to 1, Corey Connors 40 to 1. I just took it easy this week for these. For the Masters, I'm like, I really want to drop a bomb on Scotty Scheffler to win. With just how he won last year, Scotty Scheffler's a closer, right? He's got that killer instinct. He's playing great this year. He's plus 700 on DraftKings. I kind of want to bet like $10,000 on it, to be honest, because I'm a big Jon Rahm fan. But Scotty Scheffler, he's just so composed. He's a killer, and I feel like unless Cameron Smith does something wild, I think it's pretty much Scotty Scheffler's tournament to lose. So how he's plus 700, the same odds as Rory, I don't really know. But I will say I'm not really, at that top tier. I'm not really worried about Rory at all beating Scheffler. So I feel like Scotty being the champion from last year, I think he knows he won by 3 strokes last year or whatever it is. He was destroying people on the last day. I think he was up 5 or 6 strokes. So he knows he can dominate this course, and he only gets better by the tournament. So you give a guy like that confidence, who knows he can win, who won it last year, as opposed to Rory, a guy who often chokes in the final round. Just like he did in match play, he also choked as well, like this past week. So I don't see what stops Scotty Scheffler. So I'll gladly bet the chalk in that one. I think Scheffler, wins it going away. And I think, the only one who can stop him is Jon Rahm, but not sure Jon Rahm can keep his composure if he bogeys or something. We've seen Jon Rahm lose his composure. Have like when he bogeys, he sometimes bogeys 2 in a row because he gets angry and frustrated. Whereas Scotty, every shot is a new shot, right? Scotty doesn't get frustrated. He doesn't let the course beat him, right? And he seems to put things into perspective out there. So I like Scotty Scheffler a lot to win the Masters. I don't see how he loses, to be honest. So I hope I'm right, because I'm going to bet a lot of money on it. So hopefully Scotty wins. But like I said, this weekend I just mixed in Corey Connors, Siwoo Kim, Chris Kirk, top 10s, top 20s, round leaders, and to wins. So, but yeah, besides that, just the field is pretty weakened this week because most guys have flown to Augusta to get ready to play some practice rounds on course. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to the Masters. Looking forward to a pretty big next 10 days.
Our weekly segment for the Florida Panthers report is we're wrapping up the regular season there. How's the Panthers playing? What's the stretch drive look like? Playoffs, no playoffs? Give us your report there, sir.
Well, I've been happy with my hockey. I think since January 30th, I'm 95 and 52 in the NHL. So we've been crushing it. The Panthers, on the other hand, the Panthers, they had won 6 in a row. They were in the 8th spot, 1 point out of, I think, no, we might have been in the 7th spot. 1 point ahead of the Penguins. And since then, we've lost 4 in a row. And we have we just lost to the Senators on Monday night, 4-3, 4-2. And you have Paul Maurice coming out saying he thought we played really good. I thought we played really good tonight. We just lost. You lost to the Senators 5-2. You didn't play pretty good, you lost. I hate this guy. I mean, I really hate him. I think he's the worst coach in NHL history. He's got the most losses in NHL history. He took the president's trophy winning team and made him a a borderline playoff team. So I don't know if they're going to make the playoffs now. I think they're 3 points out of it, with the same number of games played as the Penguins. So I think we got 8 or 9 games left. They pretty much got to win them all. And tonight they play at Toronto. So it's going to be a tough one. I'm just ready to get rid of Paul Maurice and Sergei Bobrovsky. I'm done with both of them. They can both go to Canada next year. But Paul Maurice, he's just terrible. Bill Zito Jr., the general manager for the Panthers, he's terrible. So it's either they get rid of Maurice. If they get rid of Maurice, they're going to signal we still want to win, right? We still want to give this team a go with this roster. If not, if they keep Maurice, it's pretty much the white flag. But yeah, it's a very very disappointing. What Paul Maurice has done to this team this year. They brought Paul Maurice in for his playoff experience and his defensive experience, and it's been a total opposite. So it's been very disappointing with him, and I hate if they bring him back. I mean, I doubt I renew my season tickets because what's the point, right? So it's not looking great for the Panthers, but they haven't won 4 games in a row all year, which is crazy to me. So I'm just looking forward to either making the playoffs or just the season ending and then firing Paul Maurice. So we'll see what happens.
Last question. I got to ask you this. I know the answer, but I have to throw it out there. Locally here, they're trying to spin this where why wouldn't you bring Lamar to New England? Trade him back, give him a couple picks, gives you instant credibility. As you know, the AFC is loaded, not just the East with Josh Allen. You guys have Tua. Most likely Aaron Rodgers will be there. You add in, a Mahomes, a Justin Herbert. AFC is absolutely loaded. Patriots are 70-1 to win the Super Bowl. Haven't been that high since 93 before Kraft came in. Now, the Dolphins, on the other hand, listen, no disrespect to Tua. You guys got weapons. You got speed to burn. Great young coach. Good defense. You're right there with the Jets chasing the Bills. Thoughts on Lamar? Thoughts on if you were the GM on Miami, would you even hint to bring him, to Miami? Or if not, where you think he might end up?
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins, look, Tua, I think when Tua was the starting quarterback last year, they went I want to say 10-1 or 10-2 when he started. He led the league in QB. He led the league in passer rating, right? Ahead of Mahomes. So the only question is, can he stay healthy, right? So I think you really got to give Tua another year, to see if he can stay healthy through this season. And if he can't, then you move on. But I don't think after a guy leads the league in QB rating, ahead of Patrick Mahomes, and his record is insane as a starting quarterback, it's hard to give up on a guy like that quickly. I think it would be a good move for the Patriots or even the Jets, but I think the Ravens, they know if they get rid of him, they're done, right? So I think the Ravens are making it, going to make it hard for teams to get him, right? Unless he just holds out, right, and just says, I'm not going to play, and force a holdout. It's tough to see them, moving on from him, but he certainly would be an improvement for the Patriots. I mean, Mac Jones, very average, right? You're not gonna win a Super Bowl with Mac Jones, right? Probably won't make the playoffs, right? He's slow in the pocket. He gets injured a lot too. So the Jets, if I was the Jets, I'd talk to the Ravens about it for sure. But it seems they're pretty dead set on getting Aaron Rodgers right now. I think there's a lot of teams that could use Lamar Jackson. I'm not sure why more. I think he's hurting himself not having an agent for sure. Because at the end of the day, that's your job is to throw a football. As much as you try to educate yourself on the contracts and stuff, you're not going to do as good of a job as an agent. So I think he's holding himself back right there with that one. But I also think the Ravens are making it tough on him because they don't want him to move on. And the Ravens, I blame Deshaun Watson and stuff. It's you can't blame teams for not wanting to give out a Deshaun Watson like contract. And we see how that's turned out, right? Like he was terrible last year. So when you start getting into all this guaranteed money, it becomes a sticky situation. So I don't really. It's anybody's guess what's going to happen there. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if if you're the Atlanta Falcons, why don't you give up the house for him, right? Bring back those Michael Vick kind of years, right? The Falcons, they don't really have much going for them. Trade Desmond Ridder in a first round pick for Lamar Jackson, right? Like, I think a team like the Falcons will be the best fit because what do they have to lose, right? They don't have anything to lose. So, it's just a big puzzle right now, and we have to wait for the Ravens to do something because at the same time I feel like the Ravens don't really want to do anything either, right? Like Harbaugh is like one of those guys that's like a staunch guy who wants to stand his ground and stuff. So I don't really know, but I think Atlanta would be the perfect fit for him. I mean, obviously I'd like him to come into the Dolphins, but I feel like we have to give Tua another. You got the way Tua played last year. Besides being injured, you got to give him another go, right? You can't lose your job by being injured, right? So we'll see what happens, but I mean, it's anybody's guess at this point.
They were talking about it on social media. I forget which show. And if this ever happened, OMG, if the 49ers ever made a move for him, they could trade Trey Lance or Purdy, whichever one they wanted, give him a couple of draft picks to have Lamar Jackson in that type of offense. That would be pretty damn scary.
Yeah, and I'd give up I would give up Trey Lance in a second, like for the not very good, right? So, if the Niners could do it, but the Niners don't seem like that team that wants to break the bank either. So, I don't know. Even the Cowboys, I mean, trade Dak Prescott for Lamar and give up a first round pick also. I mean, he would be great on the Cowboys. That would be fun to watch. Jerry Jones would absolutely love that, but we'll just have to see where he goes. I have a feeling he'll be playing in Baltimore. And then maybe after this, I think this franchise tag is stupid, right? Like, it just puts the guy in purgatory, right? They don't want to be there. The team doesn't want to pay them, so why not just let them go, right? I think the franchise tag is stupid, but as long as the NFL allows it, I think that Lamar Jackson will be in Baltimore, unfortunately for him.
I agree. The scroll has been going the whole time. Go follow B2B at Beating the Bookie. Rob, tell everyone where they can go to the website to get the free plays, how to sign up for your packages as we get ready for, the start of baseball, the Final Four, the championship, the Masters, and so on.
All my packages are on the site, beatingthebookie.com. And we've got everything in there that you want. We've got a free play page where I give out a free play pretty much daily. And we've got everything you need. We're just moving into the summer almost. Looking forward to it. And looking forward to the Final Four this weekend. So everything's great. And hopefully we can keep winning,
Wishing you nothing but the best. Enjoy Saturday. We'll circle back the wagon, see what time and day we get you on next week. We can't thank you enough. Everyone, please go follow Rob at Beating the Bookie. Go to his website. Get the free play daily. Sign up for his packages. All people, your followers that are not following us, go over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investor. Subscribe for free. And on Twitter, if you follow me, I promise I'll follow you back. For myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the legend himself, Mr. BTB at Beating the Bookie. Everyone have a blessed day. 3 p.m. Brady Cannon will come back to talk some PGA. And at 5 o'clock, myself and Riley will be back for the closing bell. See you soon.